Hey guys, welcome to another video on the Vlogs with Donald channel. I just got out of work and I was thinking about something that I dealt with for a while, since probably 2020, and it's the title of the video. The question is, do you think you're worth over $20 an hour? Now, let me explain something. So, I might do a video on this in the future. I already did one, but it's cut up in a bunch of different pieces, and I might just do one entire video like this. But I used to be a manager at a Domino's, and I took that position at the beginning of 2020, and I was a manager from then until I left, and I left in December 24th of 2023. So this past year was my first year not being there, going into now the second year. And during that time, we had, from 2020 onwards, we had a very hard time getting people to apply. It was crazy. I don't know if it was only because of the area we were in or what, but we had a very, very hard time getting people to apply. And then once people did, it was just like, are they going to stay? They'd work out for a week and then never see them again. And I think the mindset of people, younger people, like people in their mid-20s now, and even people, that are now out of high school, like people in their early 20s and people in their mid-30s even, have this mindset of I need to get a job where I make over $20 an hour. I need to do it. And if I don't get it, then I'm not doing that job. And I'm a big believer on if people are worth $20 an hour, the company that you work for will give you that. But if you're not worth $20 an hour, then you shouldn't get it. And what do I mean by if they're worth it? I mean, do they come to work every day and do the best they possibly can? Do they, when you ask them to do something, do they do it? Or do they sit there and, complain or just flat out don't do it? Do they call out multiple times a month? Do you catch them not doing their job often? Do you have to talk to them a lot? And if you do all of those things, I don't think you are worth $20 an hour. And it's hard for people to admit that they are like that, but a lot of people are. And at my job, when I worked for Domino's, the second you'd call, we did phone interviews for a while because of the, COVID and all that stuff. When you would call and they would be like, what's the starting pay? And the starting pay was it was minimum wage at the time. Because you're coming in, you're making pizzas. You do get tips, so I'd always let them know. Or I'd be like, okay, you can make maybe $1 or $2 more to be a shift lead, which gives you the responsibilities of being in charge of the store and all that stuff, like having to close the store, having to open the store, having to do prep, all this stuff, you'll make a couple dollars more an hour. So it'd go from, let's say, $13 to maybe like 14 or $14.50 to maybe even 15, depending. And if you did that, you'd get your cash tips, plus if the numbers are good, as in inventory, like food inventory, and we do a lot in sales, you'll get a very nice bonus. And logically, for people who are looking for a job, would think, okay, let me go for the highest paying option. Yes, you got to do work, but it's worth the money, because you can, as a shift lead, I was making well over $20 an hour, closer to maybe 25 with just my cash tips. But people would just be like, okay, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work, like, I'm sorry. It's like, okay, whatever. So people, since COVID, have been very entitled, and they want to make over a certain amount, but they don't want to have to earn it. If you're doing something back-breaking, working in a warehouse, you do your job the way you're supposed to, you're worth over $20 an hour. But if you're 16, 17, and you're going to get your first job, and all you have to do is make pizzas for 4 hours a day, and you're not happy with minimum wage, and you're telling yourself, I need to make over 20. You're not, no. Those people are not worth over $20 an hour. And yeah, it's just the whole, when people got laid off from their jobs, or chose to like quit during, in 2020, and because of the pandemic, those people, once they decided, like, okay, the state's not giving me money anymore, let me go get a job. And now everyone's like, I need to make over this specific amount. And that's why places like McDonald's, freaking grocery stores, Walmart, all these big places start like, okay, here you go, $20 an hour. But there's a catch to catch all these people, because they see that $20 an hour, and then they start getting all these applicants, but you don't read the fine print. It's $20 an hour if maybe you work in a warehouse and you work nights. So if you work, 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. to like 7 a.m., you're making probably $25 an hour, 24. Depends on the place you live in. You go to McDonald's, someone who's starting, a 16-year-old that just started at McDonald's is not making $20 an hour. They're not even going to be getting tips, because they don't do tips. That person's going to be making maybe $1 above minimum wage. So if it's 13 an hour, you're making 14. Maybe they'll give you 15 an hour. But if you want to make that 20 plus an hour, you need to be a shift lead, or you need to apply to be a manager. And, I worked at a Domino's for 6.5 years, and I didn't make on the books over $20 an hour. I made $16.50 when I left. And all these people that would come in and say, I need to make over this amount, you are nuts. So, do I think everyone should be making over $20 an hour? No. I understand cost of living goes up and everything, but you should earn that amount. And yeah, it's It's kind of that simple, you know? Ask yourself, like, if you're telling yourself you need to make more money, there's ways to make more money. But, like, in your current job, do you think you actually deserve to make over 20 an hour? I don't know. That's kind of for you to decide, but most people in the United States do not deserve to make over that amount. You got to kind of earn it and show, like, hey, I'm worth this amount. And I've done that here at this job, and I've only been here a year. Like, hey, I think I'm worth this amount because I have to do this person's stuff and that person's stuff. And, you know, it's kind of up to them if they want to give it to me or not. But, yeah, that's kind of my spiel for the day. Comment what you think. Do you think you're worth it? Do you think everybody's worth over 20 an hour? I don't know. Just have to wait and see, I guess.